More. We're live at CES 2011 in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, and I couldn't help but invite Bob Frankston up onto the stage because, ladies and gentlemen, there probably wouldn't be a CES. I can tell you there wouldn't be an Apple computer without this guy. Here's a great, you're a trivia question, Bob.
Okay.
All the people watching at home, now people my age go, Bob Frankston, oh my God. But I bet you a lot of younger people say, who's Bob Frankston? Bob wrote VisiCalc. So the internet revolution really is that bits is bits.
Yes.
That's a component.
Well, what the internet really did was decouple what you did from how you did the path.
Right.
And you can ignore the path. So wherever that is, we get this kind of excitement.
Well, to put it in concrete terms, we're really doing television, or we're doing radio, depending if you're looking at the pictures or not. But we're not, there's no transmitter tower. This is streaming over the internet.
Yes.
And that's empowering for me because I can use consumer grade electronics. I can use very inexpensive switchers that replace a $1 million SAT truck. When Tech TV came here to CES 10 years ago, it cost $1 million. This is costing on a 1/10, less than 1/10, 1/20th.
That you're Verizon, who's just put in, let's say, $50 billion into Fios, and to discover it adds no value.
Right.
Their LTE is, instead of, they're building a whole new radio system when they can simply go to the nearest tower outside your house.
But the reason they're doing it is they can control LTE.
Yes, and so here's, but the point.
They can charge message units again.
Exactly. So let's.
And that's their model, isn't it?
Well,
they come from that background.
So in the 1990s,
yeah.
Do you remember when the carriers said, we're going to charge you for each PC in your house?
What? Wait a minute, say that again.
The carrier said you're supposed to pay us for each PC.
For your internet access?
Yes.
Wow, that didn't last long.
Well, the reason it didn't last is because of me. Not to brag, but no, the point I'm making is these things didn't happen by accident. When I was in Microsoft...
Well, that's a very important point. Let's underscore it. Somebody, whether it's you or somebody else, behind the scenes without any glory, is fighting the good fight from a point of view that I don't even think those of us who are recipients of the benefits of this understand.
Yeah, I wasn't fighting the good fight. I was just annoyed that I had to.
I don't want to pay for each computer.
What really happened?
Well, we all got routers, right? So.
But let me tell you why.
Okay.
So I was in Microsoft in 1995, in the middle of my time, trying to figure out what do I do, and I was at a meeting trying to figure out how to get people to connect, and I realized that the problem was not ISDN and that. It was too hard to use.
Right.
And I rapidly went from that to saying home networks should be do-it-yourself.
Wow. This is 95.
95.
Wow.
And the thing about Microsoft, since I didn't know what a career was, I was able to do it.
You didn't know it was a career killer.
Well, I didn't know what a career was, so I could.
You had no idea the risks you were in court. Okay, go ahead.
So what I did was remove anything that made it hard. I didn't think there should be anything hard about networking. So you now owned your network in your house.
That's right.
But I did another thing which I thought was a compromise, turned out, and again, you can't anticipate the effect,
right.
But a really lucky decision was to put in a network address translator.
Which
now,
every router does, NAT.
Yes,
yeah.
It's called a NAT. We call the router now, but what it does, what meant, is the carriers could not look inside your house.
They have no idea. They give you one IP address, and you could have anything you want attached to it.
And they could not charge you for each
and
PC.
They can't do it. Thank you for NAT.
It detached it from the business model of telecom.
Right.
So the question now is...
And they had not, by the way, there was nothing they could do about it.
Oh, that was the beauty of it.
Yeah.
And at that point, they were trying the triple play back then.
Yeah.
They want...
Where you get the phone, data, and television.
And everything was going to go through your set-top box.
Right.
That was the plan. They would come in, own it.
And I'm sure Microsoft very much wanted that business.
Well, yes. I mean, this is, again, I was able to get away with this.
Right.
Because it undermined this part, the
right.
IPTV business.
Right.
But, what happened then is, US West came to us with this ADSL thing. And eventually that all connected to your router, which can now work, because your PCs were all internet ready. You didn't have to read instructions, you just plug it in, it could work.
Yeah.
That became today's broadband.
Right.
But people missed the point. We did this despite it was being broadband, not because.
Explain to me what that...
Okay, what happens is people built, like DSL.
Yeah.
The purpose of DSL was interactive television.
They wanted video dial tone. They wanted to be able to
that was the video
They
dial
wanted to become a cable provider,
exactly.
basically, cable TV provider.
So we managed to carve out a little slither, a little piece of that as quote internet. But the fact that so wherever you had this connection, you were able to use it. But people forgot once you left your house, you were disconnected.
Right.
So people tend to want more of what they used to.
Yes.
So let's say you repurpose a video distribution network. What is it good for? Video distribution.
Right.
It's not good for medical monitoring. It's not good for keeping us alive. What we need is availability and infrastructure.
Right.
So you have to explain that, that's, so speed is easy. When I did home networks, I wanted to be dial-up speed. I didn't have to make it fast. The reason you've got gigabits in your house is because I did not make speed a requirement. So companies, as they bid for your business, can make it better and better.
Very smart.
They didn't have to say, what's good enough, that's it.
Right.
Once you leave your house, you go into the land of billing,
Very interesting.
billable events.
Now, we only have a few more minutes,
Okay,
and I
so-
want to get to net neutrality.
So net neutrality.
Because this is the debate today.
Exactly. So let me
Fast forward to our current dilemma.
Well, actually, I'm heading there. I'll do the fast track
Okay.
to it. So let's say we take this model in your house and we extend it to your neighborhood, to your city. You now own the wires. So instead of 3 broadband lines, which are redundant,
Yeah.
you own them all, and you get gigabits to every house. Because there's no reason not to.
Right.
There's no meter running. The problem with net neutrality is people are treating it as a moral battle. They think somebody's going to block you, that's bad. They're right. But they're talking about only that 1% they get as internet. I want the whole thing because the internet is fundamental. And if you look at the show, what's happened over the last few years is everything is now going over the top of IP.
Right.
Just as Verizon put in billions to become a cable company, it's all useless because they get
All they can do is sell generic bits,
and
everything rides on it.
Well, but it gets worse. So if you have Fios now,
And by the way, this is for people who don't know, this is exactly what's driving Verizon and everybody else crazy.
Why?
They're in the wholesale business. They wanted to be in a retail business.
Yes, which is, well, actually, the retail business, they're trying not to be in the commoditized. But
they're commoditized. That's what I mean.
But it's actually much worse.
Okay.
Comcast is buying NBC Universal in order to get out of the cable business.
They want to control content.
They want to be the content.
Yeah.
The content all goes over. So Comcast now can make more money selling to a Fios subscriber, but they don't have to own the physical plant anymore.
Right. They didn't have to do all that investment.
So this is the real trend that's turning in the industry, because the problem now is you got companies that made money selling services. We can do the services better ourselves, so they don't get that revenue.
Right.
If they sell too many bits, they can't make money. There are too many bits. So they're basically zombie companies trying to escape before people realize that.
I agree with you.
So if we focus on wanting to be owners of our local infrastructure, take the home model, extend it to the neighborhood, that we get a lot more neutrality.
How do we do that, though? It's not structured to do that right now.
No, you start out with awareness. And
so what you're saying is we should become our own internet service
Yes,
providers, buy bandwidth by the bushel?
We buy copper, we buy fiber, we buy radios.
Yeah.
Each community would hire people to operate it, like we hire people to run the streets, the sewers.
But Bob, you know what's going to happen, because as soon as cities started doing municipal Wi-Fi.
No, but they used the wrong business model. They did a Bell model. You see, this is a long discussion. So I'll try to do it short. If you want to continue, we can.
Well, you know what? What we're going to do is we're going to bring you back to the studio in a little box. No, we're going to bring you back to the studio sometime and spend an hour. I really want to have this conversation, and I don't want to rush you through it.
So the short
bottom
summary,
line? Yeah.
Bottom line. The technology exists. The business model is a problem. We need to change how we pay for
community internet.
Community ownership of the infrastructure. Like
but this might be an opportune moment because these companies are trying to get out of the infrastructure business.
This is the time to make a deal, just like in 1984.
Yep.
If you go to Frankston.com, you can read about it in more detail.
This is fascinating. We are at a very critical juncture.
Yes, and if you
we could take advantage of this.
You walk around the show, you can see. Everything's going over the top.
Yep.
Everything's changing.
It's riding
they're
IP.
Broadband, they're trying to ride IP, and they're not facing all the implications. So things are changing rapidly. The FCC is still in 1934.
I agree with that, and I really like what you're saying, and I want to know more. FRANKSTON.com.
Yes.
If you want to know more. And Bob, Eileen, let's book Bob for our triangulation. Tom Merritt and I will spend an hour. I really want to know more, and what I really want to know is how do we do it?
Yes.
Because I want to do it. I want to get everybody who watches TWIT to do it. This is a chance for a grassroots movement at an opportune moment.
The good news is that the whole telecom industry together is our suspension of disbelief.
Yes, we know that.
Yes.
Anybody who uses telecom
So you
knows
just need
that.
to become educated.
It's just become educated.
And we'll talk more about that.
Bob, you're the greatest. Thank you. Bob Frankson, the guy who wrote Visit.